prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary. I want to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. And with thanksgiving, I thank you, yeah. I'll bring a living sanctuary for you. Lord, I'm being prepared to be a sanctuary, oh yeah, pure and holy. I've been tried and I am true. Oh, thank you, Lord. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm a living sanctuary for you. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
If you knew you would die today, would you live this day differently? At Wednesday Night Satsang, we have been exploring 4 simple questions that reveal the meaning and beauty in our lives. The question this week is, how shall I live, knowing that I will die? When we use death as our spiritual teacher, it can reveal deeper meaning in our lives. Let's explore this together. Wednesday night at 7 p.m. online or in person. Hope to see you there. Namaste.
It's been a challenging year for our country and community. At Unity of Houston, we have the opportunity to make the holidays more joyful for children attending nearby Pilgrim Academy and for formerly homeless adults that may not otherwise receive gifts at Christmas. In response to the pandemic and desire for continued health and safety for all, we are requesting monetary donations so that Unity in the community can purchase gift cards that will be distributed to children's families by Pilgrim Academy and to formerly homeless individuals by Search. Visit unityhouston.org to give a financial contribution. Donations will be accepted through December 13th and distributed in time to make their holidays magical. Thank you for your gift this season.
One of the phrases we like to say is, something's happening here at Unity of Houston. And it's true. For the first time ever in Unity of Houston's history, we are offering global membership. That's right, wherever you are in the world, if you feel that Unity of Houston has become your spiritual home, that you've been fed here, that you feel led to be more of a part of us, we would like to extend to you the special invitation of becoming a member of Unity of Houston Church. Our online orientation will be 7 o'clock Central on December 1st and recognition during our 11 o'clock Central service on Sunday morning. You can go to our website, unityhouston.org, for all of the bylaw and requirement information, and we are so excited to welcome you into our community, into our home, into amazing things.
Information about all our events can be found online at unityhouston.org or when you download the Unity of Houston app. Watch services and listen to podcasts online, and be sure to follow us on social media.
For we need a little Christmas right this very minute. Need a little Christmas now. You know, around August, when the staff were on Zoom calls for about, week 1200 or so, we ask each other, are we going to do a Christmas concert? Oh yeah, we are doing a Christmas concert. Not only are we doing it for 100 people who are able to come here, and we're really counting on those of you who like to be in the space to come. Truthfully, the performers need you here. But in addition to that, for this year, the first time, we're also live streaming it for those of you for whom watching it at home is the better choice, and we'll be recording it. So you can watch it all month long on the various social media. And you're going to want to just at least see what Julia's going to be wearing, right? You know, that alone is worth the price of admission. We're asking for a suggested donation of $15, but truthfully, your presence is more important than the money. But the money's being used to help offset the expenses for the event. We want to pay our musicians. Amen? Yes? Not only because they deserve it, and they so thoroughly do, but also 2020 has been hard on gig musicians as well. So we're going to pay our musicians, we're going to pay the AV team, but they're all going to be here. Reverend Michael's going to be singing, Ken, Boris, Tony, Julia, Siobhan, and then we've had a command performance request for Bruce Ross to do Run, Rudolph, Run again. You just haven't lived until you've seen that. And then we also are going to bring some of our children forward. And so even if you're a little allergic to kids, at Christmas, get over it. Because I tell you, you haven't lived until you've seen I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas and All I Want Is My Two Front Teeth, sung by children. So you're going to want to be a part of that too. And also our virtual choir. Our choir's been working hard to put together 2 really magnificent performances that will be premiered on the night of the concert. It's exactly this coming Saturday. Yay, it's here. All right, 7 o'clock this Saturday, need to RSVP online if you intend to attend in person. Otherwise, dial it up on your favorite social media. I look forward to seeing you then.
David York. Thank you, David. It is going to be a great concert, so I hope you will join us. So I want to give you guys an update on our 2021 Pledge Program. You are responding with your commitments to support the ongoing work of Unity of Houston. This is where we are. Let's get some love. We are at 70%. That's really... In the 2 weeks, we've got a huge increase in both in the number of pledges and in the dollar amount pledged. This is the lifeblood of how we're able to continue to bring the programs, the classes, the spirit groups, all of those things. It's people who feel, as Jen said in the announcement, this is your spiritual home. We're asking for your commitment around the finances of our community. We're not a church that talks about money all the time. But this one time of the year, we are having a very grown-up conversation about it. That you know that we have to pay the lights and we have to pay the musicians and all of those things. And we need money to do that. And so this is your opportunity to step into spiritual partnership around financial good. So we just ask you to do that, whatever's in your heart. We have 4 levels this year. And right now I want to speak to the grateful giver. This is our sort of entry level of giving in our 2021 Pledge Program, under $100 a month. And particularly want to speak to those who are not local, but who have found us from wherever you're living, and you've joined a spirit group, you've taken a class, you've enjoyed the services, you're feeling fed by the work that we are creating here at Unity of Houston. I'm asking you to think about it like maybe a Netflix, but for your soul, for your spirit. That maybe $10, $15, $20 a month, and we've had some people give quite large gifts, a one-time gift of $400, $500, which is wonderful. But what we're asking you to do now is consider what would that look like for an entire year of support. And if that's calling you today, I invite you to just get the number that feels right for you, that feels commensurate with the value you're receiving from what we're offering here at Unity of Houston. And you can go right here. We have a Q code, I believe, that we're going to bring it up. You can just take your phone out right now and scan it. And this is also on our website, but it's a very simplified form this year. It'll take you 30 seconds to fill out the pledge form. And just let us know that you're supporting the work we're doing. This is a very difficult year for nonprofits, as you know. And next year is not looking to be a whole lot better. And it is your support that makes us able to continue this vital work that God has called us to do. So thank you so much for considering that. End of commercial. Now I want to take a moment to welcome all of our visitors. If this is your first time here, whether you're in the sanctuary with us or you're watching us online, thank you and welcome to this community. We are about a positive and practical approach to living life on a spiritual basis. That's really what all of our teachings are designed to help you live a life of greater freedom, abundance, and well-being, right? Those of us who have been here for a while, we know the benefit of living a life this way. So what I'd like to do is, if you have not yet filled out a connection card, I'd like to invite you to do so today. And those will be pinned in the comments section, the link right there on Facebook. It's also at unityhouston.org on the homepage, and it just says New to Unity, and it'll take you just a few seconds. We'd like to know who's here and how you found out about us and whether or not you'd like to be on our mailing list. If you're here in the room and it's your first time, we have a table out in the lobby where it says Welcome Visitors. You can pick up a whole packet that'll have a lot of information about who we are. But I'm so delighted that you are here. Wherever you are in your spiritual path, you are most welcome at Unity. Thank you for being with us this morning. One of the things that we do in our Sunday service, which is a touchstone for many, is our meditation. Most of us meditate by ourselves every day or often enough. But it's a really powerful thing to meditate together in community. And so we're going to do that now. Centeredness. I'm going to be singing a little bit of a simple chant written by Melissa Felipe. It just says, I am remembering who I am. You're welcome to gently sing with me or just allow these simple words and melody to move you into your heart. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. remembering who I am. I am remembering. I am remembering. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. Let us breathe together into this perfect now moment. Releasing memory, thoughts of past events. As the mind offers them, we just simply notice and let them go. Release our attachment to any thoughts of future, things that haven't happened yet. Whether it be simply planning where we're going to go to lunch or what we'll have, or maybe some unspoken anxiety or fear of something that is to happen in the future or that might happen. I gently remind us that the past is past and the future has not yet arrived. All we have is right now. And right now, let us remember who we are. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. There is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. I am connected to God. I am connected to all of my brothers and sisters on planet Earth. I am a part of this life that expresses itself as galaxies and blue whales and giant sequoias and brand new baby people. The flowers in the meadow, the water in the stream, the butterfly, the ocean, the sun and the moon. All of it is connected. All is an expression of the life of God. And I am a part of that. I am at home in this universe. I am needed, necessary, irreplaceable, and unrepeatable. I am here for a holy purpose. So right here and right now, I relax into this knowing, into this connection, into this belonging. All is well. I am whole. I remember. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. And if thoughts of fear or worry seek to intrude upon this holy moment of remembrance, I
let it go. Come back to the breath. Feel myself supported by the chair I sit in. I'm aware of the gift of this next breath, and so I bring more awareness to the sensation of the breath entering and leaving my body. Right here, right now. All is well. I am home. I have arrived. And wherever I am hurting, wherever I am doubting, I invite God's love into that place, in my heart, in my body, in my family, in my finances. I invite the presence of God's creative energy into the place where I feel an absence. There is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. And that life is my life. Right now. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. So I rest in gratitude. I trust life. I trust God. I trust myself. I am cared for. All my needs are met. I open my heart to receive new blessings. All is well. I let it be, and so it is. Amen.
Just feel the beauty of that restful time and meditation and in communion with something greater than ourselves, in unified communion with all of those of us who are hearing and experiencing this together, near and far. In coming into this awareness and into this space and returning now to our physical selves and to the places that we are opening our eyes and re-energizing ourselves in the places we have chosen to be. This is our time to understand that it's something deep within us. There's an opportunity to do our weekly spiritual practice, which is to bless and to share and to hold the gifts that we have to give and to hold them in our hands and our hearts, no matter how we're giving, whether you brought it in person and we'll place it in a box as you leave, or electronically, the text to give number that you see, or the electronic means on our app or website. The method isn't as important as the intention and the energy that you do it with. And so this is the reason for our blessing. And so I invite you now to hold that gift in your heart, in your hands. And now as you do, let us repeat the words, say them aloud, that blesses these gifts now. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive, and so it is. Amen.
Never be afraid to love. Never be afraid to just be. Cast away all shades of doubt. Have the courage to be free. Don't cloud your eyes with others' lives. See only what you want to see. Duplicate this simple truth. Have the courage to be free. Open your eyes, you can fly. Open your eyes, you can fly. You can fly. You can fly. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Never be afraid to love. Never be afraid to just be. You gotta cast away all shades of doubt and have the courage to be free. Don't cloud your eyes with others' lies. See only what you want to see. You got to duplicate this simple truth and have the courage to be free. Open your eyes,
Thank you, Siobhan. Thank you, Unity of Houston Band. Wow. I think we're like in the cool church today. That was like jazzy and cool. I loved it. But the message, did you hear? That's the unity message, isn't it? If we open our eyes, if we can see into the greater reality of who we are, we can do anything. I mean, really, we're up here every Sunday and Wednesday telling you the same thing, just in different words. That's really our only message, is that we are one with the infinite life of God. The creativity, the power, the presence, the love, the possibility of the infinite is in you and me. And if we can open our spiritual eyes to see it and to live it, then we can experience freedom like in anything we've ever known. So we have to get creative on how we keep doing different Sundays all the time. But there is a formula to giving a message. I've shared it with you before. My friend Jerry Roberts, the minister up at Unity of the Woodlands, he was a Methodist-trained seminarian, and he said it's really just a joke, 3 points, and a poem every Sunday. A joke, 3 points, and a poem. I have all prepared for you today, a joke, 3 points, and a poem. Now, I know a joke, it's kind of formulaic, but it kind of works. There's something about starting with a little funny, just kind of lets us relax into it, and then hopefully we can hear something. So Jack and Mary, the story I'm going to tell you. But before I tell you the story, you know the way a joke works, right? You have setup, punchline. Setup, punchline. There are short jokes, like dad jokes, are usually just like one quick setup, and then there are the horribly long setups, which I sometimes inflict upon you. But I like the kind of medium setup to get to the punchline. So this is the story of Jack and Mary. Medium, now it's becoming a long setup. Jack had been so in love with Mary from afar for a long time, and he finally got the courage to ask her to the spring formal dance. And to his wonder and delight, she said yes. And so as the day was getting close to the dance, he thought, you know what? This is going to be a night to remember. I need to rent a tux. And so he goes to the tuxedo store, and a lot of other guys had the same idea because the line was around the corner. But he said, this is a night to remember. I'm going to wait in this tuxedo line, and I'm going to get a tux for Mary. The day of the dance arrived, and his mom said, you better get a corsage for her. So he said, okay, I'll go do that. So he goes to the neighborhood florist, and guess what? A lot of guys had the same idea. There was a horribly long line at the florist shop, but he said, this will be a night to remember. I'm going to get those flowers for Mary. He goes to Mary's house, and she comes down the stairs, and she is radiant and beautiful. They're both so excited, a little nervous. They get to the dance, and there's a long line to get in. So long that Mary looks at him and says, are you sure we want to wait in this line and go to the dance? And he said, this will be a night to remember, Mary. We'll wait in this line. They get inside the dance, and they're kind of getting the lay of the land and looking at the decorations, hearing the band play, and he says, Mary, would you like something to drink? And she looks over where the refreshments are, and she sees there's a punch bowl. She said, I would love a punch. And so Jack says, I'll be right back. And he goes over to the punch table, and I should take this moment to tell you that there's no punchline in this story. What? Come on, that's funny. You have to think about it, right? I almost gave it away there. I know, it was a lot of work for very little payoff, and I apologize. It's hard to find new ways to do this every Sunday. So today is the completion of our gratitude series we've been doing all month, and the theme of this year's gratitude, it's been a little different. I called it Give Thanks in All Things, and it comes from 1 Thessalonians 5:8, which says, give thanks in all things, for this is the will of God for you in Christ Jesus. And I've often taught on this passage that it doesn't say give thanks for all things, but says give thanks in all things. No matter what you're going through, if we can tap into the power of gratitude, it is transformative in our lives, even when we're going through hard times. So really, this month's message has been gratitude in hard times, because a lot of us are going through hard times right now. I can't remember another time in my life. I mean, we've all gone through those experiences of loss and uncertainty and illness, all of it. We've gone through it at different times, but I can't remember a time in my life in 54 years where so many people together have experienced such heaviness, such difficulty and disruption. And so what I want to say is that if it's affecting some of us differently, if this is not really, if you're not somehow feeling the full impact of the pandemic or the unrest, then what I invite you to do is hold space. Be a container of consciousness for those who are struggling. And you might listen because your time will come too, because it does. It comes for all of us. We all go through difficult times in this human lifetime. And if you are struggling a bit, then today this message is for you. And the first thing that I want to remind you is it's the title of today's talk, that we are in this world but not of this world. We face difficult circumstances and conditions in our life, but thank God we're not at the whim of the conditions. We have a spiritual reality upon which we base our lives. And we existed before we took birth. We will exist after we lay these bodies down. We are eternal expressions of God's love and light and power. And when we can connect through our faith to this deepest of truths, then we can move through any conditions in the material world because we are sustained by faith and by the truth of who we are. So that is what the meaning of this phrase, in the world but not of the world, means. It means that you're more than this. Whatever it is that your struggle is, wherever the point of pain is for you, you are bigger than that. You are eternal. You are powerful. And here's the good thing, that if we can tap our consciousness down into that deepest of truth, we can bring that energy forward as we move in the world of conditions. We can change things in our life for the good. That we can begin to live a life of greater freedom and fulfillment here, now, not just when we're done with this body and lay it down. You know, in the Christian world I grew up in, that we use this phrase a lot, in the world of the world, but we meant it to mean that everything here is bad. The world is bad. Stay away from the world. You're not of this. And so it was a lot of like purity teaching, right? You know, don't listen to that music. You know, don't eat those foods. Well, not so much. We ate all the foods. But, you know, don't do things with those people. You know, I'm not going to go into it anymore. You get my drift there. But what we mean in unity is that this world is a part of the expression of God, but that's not the whole truth. And the conditions of our lives, in our finances, in our relationships, in our health, all of that, that's not the full truth of us. That's just what we're experiencing now. But we are a part of the infinite presence and the inexhaustible supply of good. And by practice and by faith, we can bring God's good into our life, in our conditions as well. So that's what we're about. My hope is to remind you in point one today is that you are more than this. The first time I really got a hold of this idea was years ago, the very first time I heard Deepak Chopra speak back in Dallas, close to 30 years ago. And he said it like this. He said, what we are is like a radio transmitting tower outside of space and time, just forever broadcasting the truth of our connection with God for eternity. And this body and in this realm, we are like the radio that has tuned into the signal of our eternal soul. And I don't really know what that means, but it made me feel good, and I kind of like it. That rings true for me, that this is just one chapter of my story, everything I'm facing here. And I have all eternity to learn the lessons my soul needs to learn, to experience what my soul needs to experience. But the thing is, in my old tradition, we would talk about how this world was bad and wait till we get to heaven. That's when it's good. This is bad. That is good. We used to sing this song, what is it? Just a few more weary days and then I'll fly away. When what I noticed is we'd be singing this song about the weary days, but we were singing it with such happiness. And in unity, what we teach is that heaven is here if we tune our consciousness to the great truth of God's presence. That heaven is wherever we are in alignment with the truth of Spirit. So we can experience heaven on earth. And that is the reminder this morning, is that we have all eternity to do this, but what we're really seeking is freedom. And all of the great spiritual traditions talk about that. In the Christian tradition, it's often freedom from sin and damnation. In the Buddhist or Hindu tradition, it's often freedom from samsara, the birth and death cycle, the karma that we need to work off over lifetimes. We need freedom from our addictions, freedom from our fears, freedom from our unbelief. And so what we're really seeking through this human lifetime is to experience the freedom of God here and now. And sometimes we have, even in a very highly evolved teaching like unity, we get tempted back into duality thinking, and we think, well, if I can just get out of here, if I can just get out of this human life, then I'll be back to, oneness or whatever. And the invitation is always for right here, right now, even in 2020, even in global pandemic, even in loss of job and relationship, even here, God is saying, yes, your freedom is here for you. But why do we suffer? And this is the age-old question, the hardest question for all the spiritual teachers is, if all of that is true, then why are we in pain? Why are we experiencing this lack of freedom? Philip Yancey is a Catholic author, and he wrote a book called Where is God When It Hurts? And he says there are two misunderstandings about suffering in spiritual terms. The first error comes when we attribute all suffering to God, seeing it as punishment for our human mistakes. And the second error does just the opposite. It assumes that a life with God will never include suffering. The idea is that the Buddhists say that life is 10,000 joys and 10,000 sorrows. And we're not exempt from sorrows because we're living a life on a spiritual basis. When you decide to live by unity principles, when you decide to live by the creative power that God has given you, you speak your word and manifest your truth, that doesn't mean that you won't experience loss. Doesn't mean you won't experience times of great uncertainty. But here is the secret of it. It's not really a secret. Is that if we truly believe that God is everywhere present and possibility is everywhere present, even those difficulties are invitations into your transformation. And all of the great old stories teach this truth. Joseph Campbell, the author of The Hero of a Thousand Faces, who many of you may remember his PBS special where he talked about the hero's journey. He says this, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek." The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. You see, here's how good God is. That even in the bad stuff, God is there waiting for you to give you a gift that you couldn't get any other way. And those of us who have been through some dark nights, we know the truth of this. There's an old spiritual, and Maya Angelou actually wrote a book that took the title. It says, "Wouldn't take nothing for my journey now." Because who we become is refined and defined and expanded by our experience of facing adversity with our truth. That when we meet the challenging conditions of life with the truth that I am a spiritual expression, I'm good, better becoming. My friend Kathy Young, she talks about this idea of that there's a gift in everything, and you could be like mucking out the stable. You know what that means? You're shoveling out the stable, and there's a guy, this idea of a guy in there's like, there's got to be a pony in here somewhere. There's got to be a pony in this somewhere. Are you up for the hero's journey of your soul? Are you willing to stay engaged with your life in the hard parts, standing true in your faith as a child of God? Standing true in your affirmation that freedom is mine. Abundance, well-being, and health are mine. If you're willing to walk into the cave you fear to enter, you will discover the treasure that you seek. Carol Pearson says this, She's another writer who teaches from the hero's journey, and she uses a lot of teaching on archetypes. She says, each of us has a hero within, but we are not always aware of that reality. The hero within essentially is sleeping. Our task is to awaken that hero. The most natural way to arise in the morning is to wake up when the sun shines in the room. And the natural way to activate the inner potential is to shine the light of consciousness upon it. When we begin to see that we have a hero within, the hero quite naturally wakes up. And so dark times, difficult times, struggles, even suffering, all becomes a wake-up call for the hero of your own being. All of it is asking you to be more, to find more resources, more stick-to-itiveness, more perseverance, more trust and faith, and more willingness to march forward in claiming your good even when you're scared. I love the word courage. Some people have told me that it's kind of a lower tier word in spiritual terms because it denotes fear, and I'm like, duh. Yeah. We all experience fear sometimes, and we need something that will bridge between the truth that we know to be true and our fear, and that thing is courage. To be able to feel the fear and do it anyway. Those of you who are here today, whether in person or online, you're showing up. You wouldn't be attending a service for a spiritual possibility kind of a church if you didn't believe that some hero in you needs a little reminding today of your possibility. You didn't need someone to just say, you know what, you're greater than this circumstance and you're going to get through this better than you've ever known. Psalm 138, verse 7. Though I walk in the midst of trouble, God, you will revive me. You will stretch out your hand against the wrath of my enemies, and your right hand will save me. And verse 8, the Lord will perfect that which concerns me. Your mercy, O Lord, endures forever. Do not forsake the works of your hands. What the ancient writer of that prayer, of that song, was seeking to remind himself, herself, ourselves, is that God called us and God will equip us. That God has called us to be the authentic gift that we are and to step out into it, and that everything we need will be given if we're willing to partner with God. I've been in a mode lately of wanting to offer some inspirational stories. You know, sometimes I like to use the fables and the old tales, and sometimes the old scriptural stories, but the last few weeks it's been the human stories that have been most inspiring to me. And so I wanted to find a story of someone whose overcoming would inspire me and then maybe inspire you as well. And Elie Wiesel kept coming to mind. And I was like, maybe, I don't know. I'd go look, and then I kept coming back to Elie Wiesel. I don't know if you know Elie. He was Nobel Peace Prize winner. I'll just tell you his story, because he's the one I want to talk about. He grew up in the Jewish neighborhood of a medium-sized city in Hungary. About 15,000 people in the Jewish community there. And he said it was kind of a charmed existence, that you could walk out on a Saturday morning and just smell Sabbath. It was a community of great cooperation and mutual support, that it was a safe place to be a Jewish kid in Europe. And Europe has not always been a safe place for Jewish kids. And it was kind of an idyllic childhood. His family were, his dad was a merchant and fairly successful, and then one day the Nazis arrived. Many of you know this story, but they took all 15,000 of the Jews in that town and put them on trains and sent them to the death camps. Elie and his father and mother and 3 sisters were on a train together for 3 days until they arrived at Auschwitz. And then they separated the girls and the women from the men. After the war, he discovered that his older sisters had survived, but that day was the last moment he ever saw his mother and his younger sister, Zipporah. He said the last memory he has is of his mother stroking Zipporah's hair to comfort her. Something in him told him, I can't lose my father. And so this strong intention to stay by his dad was with him. Ellie was 15 years old. Someone else, one of the other prisoners, said, tell them you're 18, and then they'll think that you can do work and they won't kill you. And so he lied and told them he was 18. And so for the next couple of years, his job was to stay alive and to keep his father alive and to endure unimaginable cruelty. Really, I'm not going to share the things of his story that are just so ugly. We all know these stories, we've seen them, and they're not just in the Jewish Holocaust. These are the things that people have done to each other every century, going back as long as history exists. But he saw things that were horrifying. His father finally succumbed and died of dysentery and starvation. And Ellie said that he was 16 at this time. He was so traumatized he couldn't even cry for his father. And it was soon after that that the Americans came and liberated the camps. He was sent to an orphanage, a Jewish orphanage in France, and there he didn't really deal with it, and he didn't really talk about it. He just focused on staying alive, and he was bright, and he excelled in languages and in music. And then when he was in his mid-20s, he was encouraged to write the story, his Holocaust story, and he didn't want to do it, but he did. The first version was 800 pages in Yiddish, and they said this will not sell. So he rewrote it as 127 pages in French, and it was called La Nuit, the night, or just Night, as it was later published in English. 10 million copies of that book have sold and have been read, and now it's required reading in many schools. The interesting thing about Elie Wiesel, he grew up to be an amazing, powerful figure in the world of peacemaking and reconciliation and forgiveness. But he never came up with good answers as to why this happened, and the biggest question he always asked was, why did I live? And he never really had a good answer for that. But those of us who love him and his work have a ready answer for why he survived, so that he could remind us of why we can't let it happen again. That if there is anything that any of us can do to prevent that kind of hatred and violence and evil, we must do our part. He died 4 years ago. In his obituary in the New York Times, Barack Obama said this. He raised his voice not just against anti-Semitism, but against hatred, bigotry, and intolerance in all of its forms. He implored each of us as nations and as human beings to do the same, to see ourselves in each other, and to make real that pledge of never again. In the same obituary, they write this: Mr. Wiesel condemned the massacres in Bosnia in the mid-1990s. He said, if this is Auschwitz again, we must mobilize the whole world. And he also denounced others in Cambodia, Rwanda, Darfur. He condemned the burnings of black churches in the United States and spoke out on behalf of the blacks of South Africa and the tortured political prisoners of Latin America. Why did I live, he asked, to tell the story and to remind us. Most of us will not go through anything like what Elie went through in his life. But whatever we go through is useful to the whole. You see, the purpose of going through things, as near as I can figure out, Chris and I were talking about it yesterday, this is a 12-step thing. There's one of the promises in the 12 steps says, no matter how far down we have gone, we will see that our experience will benefit others. That's why I talk about my addiction and recovery, because some people need to hear it, that there's hope. And I don't know what your struggle is. I don't know what the cave is that you fear to enter. I don't know for you, but I do know that you need to make that hero's journey not only for your own fulfillment and freedom, but for us. That you carry a part of the light of humanity's becoming. And we all must say yes to facing the difficulties of our lives with faith and with courage. So what we're really talking about today is resilience. Don't you just love resilient people? I'm beginning to think I might be one. I'm not sure yet, but it seems to be the way my life is going. And there are two things that people who study resilience say are required for resilience. One is a strong system of support, and man, have I had that. Oh. Have I had that in my life? People willing to extend themselves to support me when I needed it. Oh my gosh. So many people, friends, family, church. And if you don't have that, I encourage you to find it. And this church may not be able to give you all the support you need, but if you don't know where else to start here. Join one of our groups, take a class, meet some people. Just need people who will remember for you who you are. The second thing that is required is a sense of purpose. And your purpose does not have to be Nobel Prize winning to count. Your purpose is to live your authentic journey to the best of your ability. Remember who you are and live that truth. I'm not going to give you a poem today. You don't need it. I'm going to leave with a little Emerson for you. I desire not to disgrace the soul. The fact that I am here certainly shows me that the soul had need of an organ. Shall I not assume the post? Shall I skulk and dodge and duck with my unseasonable apologies and vain modesty, imagining my being here does not matter? And that the soul did not know its own needs? Besides, without any reasoning on the matter, I have no discontent. The good soul nourishes me and unlocks new magazines of power and enjoyment to me every day. I will not meanly decline the immensity of good, because I have heard that it has come to others in another shape. All of us are necessary. Each of us is necessary. The fact that I am here shows me that the soul, the universe, God, Spirit needed me here. The fact that you are here shows us that you're needed. Shall we not assume the post and live the life God has called us to? If no one has told you today they love you, I love you. If no one has told you today they're grateful for you, I thank God for you. God bless you.
It's amazing. Who am I, Lord? Who am I that you are mindful of me? That you hear me when I call. Is it true? Yeah. Is it true that you are thinking of me? Oh, how you love me. Oh, yeah.
We are collecting Animeals pet food donations right outside until 1:30 today. So you can also give financial donations as well for that. Want to remind you to please leave your masks on and maintain social distancing, and to help us clear out of the sanctuary soon as we can to stay safe, healthy, strong. Please come back. Please bring friends. Those of you on live stream, share this with all of your friends and have them join wherever they are. Let's just make this a big party.
Thank you, Karen. And remember, new member orientation is Tuesday. If you feel like the call to join this community, we are here for you Tuesday at 7 o'clock, and that's on our website as well. I invite you now to stand as you're able to sing our peace song. It is our favorite way to close a service here at Unity of Houston. And if you're with someone you're quarantined with, you can grab their hand. Otherwise, you can just place your hands over your heart as we sing together. Join me as we speak the words of our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And we claim today that God is good all the time.
It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. In a beautiful world. In a beautiful world. So put a smile on your face. Put a smile on your face. Shine your light in the world. Shine your light in the world. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. In a beautiful world. In a beautiful world. Put a smile on your face.